Good afternoon, respected Principal Ma'am, Vice Principal Ma'am, teachers, and my dear friends. It's a matter of great honor and pride to extend to you all a hearty welcome on behalf of the BSS School to this special edition of the 125th birth anniversary of a great leader of our nation, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. We have all gathered here to pay our deep reverence to a pioneering son of this flourishing soil. Not only that, it is even a matter of glory that he bears the heart and soul of this land of Bengal. May I now have the privilege of requesting our respected Principal Ma'am, Ms. Sunita Sen, to address this gathering on this occasion. Ma'am, please.
Thank you so much, Shupriti. A very good afternoon to all present here. The life and sacrifices of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose serve as a beacon of light for future generation. It is appropriate to dwell on the contemporary relevance of Netaji and his message on the occasion of Netaji's birthday. Our true homage to Netaji would be to work with dedication to make our country, for whose sake Netaji sacrificed his everything, strong, prosperous, and progressive, so that it may one day become a great power in the world. He called upon the youth of the country to once again adopt the slogan of Ittifaq, Itmad, Qurbani, or unity, faith, and sacrifice as the clarion call of our nation. Netaji was unanimously elected Rashtrapati on the 51st session of the Indian National Congress held in Haripura on the banks of the river Tapi in February 1938. His presidential address at the session was a masterpiece of vision and action. He reminded delegates that our chief national problems are eradication of poverty, illiteracy, and disease. Netaji, as Congress President, wrote a letter to all Congress premiers advising them on how they should administer their provinces. The ideas contained in this letter were the precursors of the principles enshrined in the chapter on directive principles of our Constitution. Netaji believed that propelled by freedom of faith, gender equality, and economic justice for all, India will certainly become a modern nation. Subhash Chandra Bose was able to achieve and accomplish a lot in the short span of time. Netaji's entire life is a story of service and sacrifice. He was a doer as well as a thinker. He was a fighter and a natural leader of men. His writing, exceptional oratory, and persuasive reasoning won him an impassioned and loyal following. He set an example through his actions and ideals and inspired the younger generation to dedicate themselves to the service of the nation. His proud and independent spirit mocked at ill health and ill fortune. He took exile and imprisonment in his stride. His fervent appeal to the people of our country has always been, give me blood and I will give you freedom. Let us pay our homage today to one of the most exceptional leaders of our country, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your inspirational words. May I now request Rajanya De of class 6C to share her thoughts.
Good afternoon, respected Principal Ma'am, teachers, and my dear friends. I am Rajanya De from class 6C. Today, we are celebrating the 125th birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, a great leader and an inspiring nationalist with defiant patriotism for the country. On this occasion, I will tell you some interesting facts about his school days. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was born in Cuttack to Pravavati Dutt Bose and Janakinath Bose. His father, Janakinath Bose, was an affluent and successful advocate. Netaji was the ninth child among 14 children in the family. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, from his early days, was very eager to attend school, to see his elder brothers and sisters, to dress up and go to school day after day and be left behind at home was a sad experience for him. When he was nearing his 5th birthday, January 1902, he was told that he would be sent to school. There was no end to excitement for him. It was to be a red-letter day for him. At last, he was going to join the grown-up, respectable folks who did not stay at home except on holidays. He had to start at about 10 a.m. because the classes commenced exactly at 10 a.m. Two uncles of about the same age as him were also to be admitted along with him. When they were all ready, they began to run towards the carriage which was to take them to school. Just then, as ill luck would have it, he slipped and fell. He was hurt, and with a bandage round his head, he was ordered to bed. He could hear the rumbling of the carriage wheels, which grew fainter in the distance. The lucky ones had gone, but there he lay, with darkness staring at him in the face and his fond hopes to the ground. 24 hours later, he found solace. Theirs was a missionary school, Protestant European school or PE school, run by the Baptist Mission, meant primarily for European and Anglo-Indian boys and girls, with a limited number of seats, about 15% for Indians. All his brothers and sisters had joined the school, and so he did. He was sent to the school because he would master the English language better and sooner than elsewhere, and the knowledge of English had a premium in those days. In the early days, he had just learned the English alphabet and no more. How he managed to get along without being able to speak a word of English was a tough job. To mention one of his first attempts at English, they had been given slate pencils and told to sharpen them before trying to write. His was done better than that of his uncle. So he pointed that out to his teacher, the difference by saying, Vandra mot. Mota in Bengal means thick, and mot was a distortion of it. Shoru. Shoru in Bengali means thin, and shar was a distortion of it, and thought that he learned English. The teachers were Anglo-Indians and mostly ladies, with the exception of the headmaster and headmistress, Mr. and Mrs. Young, who had come from England. Most of his teachers he did not fancy. Some, like Mr. Young, he feared, though he respected, for he was too liberal with his cream. Some, like Miss Cardigan, he tolerated. Others, like Miss S., he positively hated and would cry, hooray, if she ever absented herself. Mrs. Young he liked, but Miss Sarah Lawrence, who was his first teacher in the infant class, whom he admired. She had such a sympathetic understanding of the child's mind. There was not much emphasis on studies compared to Indian schools. Outside studies, more attention was given to deportment, neatness, and punctuality that is done in an Indian school. The result was more that practically no preparation was needed when an examination had to be faced. Moreover, the standard of English taught was much higher than that of Indian schools. But after giving due consideration and credit to all this, he was not happy, since there was a lot of discrimination and for Indian students was stopped. Since his school days, he started feeling for the Indians. So gradually, his dreams about happy, joyful school life shattered. From this Protestant European school, presently Stewart High School in Cuttack in 1902, he then shifted to the Ravenshaw Collegiate School. He secured the second position in the matriculation examination in 1913 and thereafter went to the Presidency College. He was expelled from the Presidency College due to nationalist activities in 1916. Thereafter, Netaji joined the Scottish Church College at the University of Calcutta, where he completed graduation in philosophy in 1918. During his student days, Netaji was deeply influenced and inspired by Swami Vivekananda's teachings. Netaji was known for his patriotic zeal even while he was a student. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajanya. To carry on to what Rajanya said, I would also like to mention 23rd January marks the birth anniversary of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, an eminent Indian freedom fighter who served as the president of the Indian National Congress in 1938. Known for his courage and leadership skills, Bose formed the Indian National Army or Azad Hind Fauj to fight against the British. On this occasion of his 125th birth anniversary, let us look at the extraordinary life of India's icon of patriotism. He had graduated with a Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy from Scottish Church College in 1918 before leaving for Europe the following year. Between 1921 and 1932, Bose rose in ranks in the Indian National Congress, from the President of the Youth Congress in 1921 to the General Secretary of the party in 1927. Bose was elected the Congress President in 1938 and again the following year despite confrontation with Mahatma Gandhi, who opposed his presidency. He resigned from the Congress Party and formed a faction within the incorporation named All India Forward Bloc. The following months before escaping India, Bose was put under house arrest by the British in 1940. So, may I now request Tanya ma'am to make a presentation on the INA.
Good afternoon, respected Principal Ma'am, Vice Principal Ma'am, dear colleagues and my dear children. It is a matter of great honor for me to present before you an integral aspect of Netaji's life on his birth anniversary, that is, the formation of the INA. On 23rd January 1897 was born a great son of Mother India. He is none other than Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, more famous as Netaji. Netaji, the utterance of this word brings to our minds the image of rows and rows of soldiers standing tall and straight and saluting an imposing figure. Who is their Netaji? He is hailed as one of the most famous freedom fighters of India against the exploitative British colonial rule. Ever the firebrand leader, Subhash Chandra Bose hated the British deeply since his childhood days. Expelled from the Congress in 1939, he escaped from his Calcutta residence on 17th January 1941 and reached Germany to seek its help to fight the British. From Germany, Bose reached Tokyo, the capital of Japan, in June 1943 by a submarine. Japan promised to help him in his fight against the British. His arrival in Japan created enormous enthusiasm amongst the Indians living in Southeast Asia. The Indian soldiers of the British Indian Army imprisoned in Japan were determined to join Bose. At a large gathering at Singapore on 4th July 1943, another great Indian patriot, Rash Bihari Bose, handed over to Subhash Chandra Bose the leadership of the Azad Hind Fauj on 25th August 1943. Bose formally assumed its leadership and set himself to the task of its reorganization. It is a matter of great pride that within the INA there was no distinction on grounds of caste, creed, religion, etc. Various regiments were set up like Gandhi Brigade, Azad Brigade, Nehru Brigade. The Bal Senadal was formed with teenagers. The soldiers were ready to lay their lives down for Netaji. The objectives of the INA was to organize an armed revolution and to fight the British Army with modern arms. As it wasn't possible for Indians staying in homeland to organize an armed revolution, the task was passed to Indians living abroad, particularly East Asia. It intended to organize a provisional government of free India in order to assemble all forces effectively. One of its major objectives was total mobilization of Indian manpower and money for a total war. The motto of the INA was unity, faith and sacrifice. Subhash Chandra Bose also set up a women regiment under the Azad Hind Fauj called the Rani of Jhansi Regiment. Thousands of women from all over Southeast Asia volunteered for its commander, Captain Lakshmi Swaminathan, a pass out of the Madras Medical College. The members of this regiment were trained for battle and also acted as nurses and ambulance drivers. This was one of the earliest women combatants in the world. On 21st October 1943, Bose formed the Azad Hind government on independent government of India at Singapore. On 23rd October 1943, the INA declared war against Britain. 9 countries of the world, including Japan, Germany, Italy, and Thailand, recognized the new government. Japan also handed over to Bose the 2 islands of Andaman and Nicobar. Bose renamed them as Shaheed and Swaraj. The INA had its headquarters at Rangoon, modern Yangon in Myanmar. With the help of Japan, the INA began its campaign through the northeastern parts of India. They conquered Kohima and proceeded towards Imphal in April 1944. They hoisted the Indian tricolour and liberated 150 miles of Indian territory from the hands of the British. Unfortunately, the tables were soon turned. Japan started facing reverses and the INA also started getting defeated. There was heavy rain, shortage of food and armaments, and outbreak of the diseases. Thousands of INA personnel died. At last, with the surrender of Japan, the INA was also forced to surrender. The glorious achievement of the INA will never be forgotten. Their valor and sacrifice has rendered them immortal, and they continue to inspire us even today. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you so much, ma'am. There can never be any commemoration without words put to music. So it's turn of Ronkini to lead us on with this patriotic fervor. Over to Ronkini.
कदम बढ़ाए जा खुशी के गीत गाए जा ये जिंदगी है कौम की तो कौम पे लुटाए जा कदम कदम बढ़ाए जा खुशी के गीत गाए जा ये जिंदगी है कौम की तो कौम पे लुटाए जा वतन बढ़ाए जा, तू शेर हिंद आगे बढ़, मरने से फिर भी तू न डर, उड़ाओ के दुश्मनों का सर, जो शेर वतन बढ़ाए जा, कदम कदम बढ़ाए जा, खुशी के गीत गाए जा, ये जिंदगी है कौम की, तू कौम पे लुटाए जा। संभाल के लाओ किले पे गाड़ के लड़ाए जा, चलो दिल ही पुकार के हमें निशान संभाल के लाओ किले पे गाड़ के लड़ाए जा, कदम कदम बढ़ाए जा, खुशी के गीत गाए जा, ये जिंदगी है कौम की, तू कौम पे लुटाए जा, कदम कदम बढ़ाए जा, खुशी के गीत गाए जा, ये जिंदगी है कौम की, तू कौम पे लुटाए जा।
Thank you, Ronkini. We now have come to the finale of today's program. So may I now request this August gathering to stand by for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंग, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा, तब शुभ नामे जागे, तब शुभ आशीष मागे, गाहे तब जय गाथा, जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, जय हे जय हे जय हे, जय 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 हे।
Thank you everyone for being a part of today's program.
Thank you, students and teachers, for being a part of this wonderful assembly. I think it's always very, very inspiring to know about our heroes. And I would like to thank all the teachers involved in the program, which we had to plan it out in a very short time. So all credits go to the teachers in their planning, and exceptionally well done comparing by Shupriti and even Rajonna and even Ronkini. All the three of you have done your best to give the best to color to the program. So thank you very much. We may now all disconnect from the Zoom. Thank you and a very good afternoon.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Teachers,
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.